What up, gamers? Fencer here, and welcome back to my reaction to the Theorizer SpongeBob theories. Last time we watched a chocolate theory, and in this video we'll be watching Mr. Krabs' pirate theory, which I'm curious to see like what parts of his past he's gonna tackle. If I had to guess, maybe one thing that he'll mention was from the Krusty Krab training video, where they talked about Mr. Krabs and how he was in the war, and that led him into a Great Depression, which it is kind of like a maybe a psychological thing, and I know the theorizer likes to go into that, or maybe like some other aspect. There's been like many aspects of him being a pirate as well, like over the episodes, like when his grandfather or something thought he was a pirate, or maybe like his old crew, stuff like that. Maybe he'll talk about that too. All right, guys, so here we go, Mr. Krabs' pirates theory.
Eugene Harold Krabs is the owner and
Harold,
boss
wait,
of
what?
the Krusty
is that his middle name? I never even knew that.
Krab, a restaurant from
I
the
thought it was just
Nickelodeon
Eugene
TV
Krabs.
show SpongeBob SquarePants. He is the boss of SpongeBob, but his motivations lie not with the well-being of his employees, himself, or even his business, but instead all lie in one domain, the simple area of money. He is
Money,
absolutely
yes.
obsessed with money, bills, coins, any sort of payment. He conserves it beyond
Hmm.
belief and goes to psychologically damaging lengths to get even the smallest amount of change.
Okay, so that's where he's gonna go to is money. Okay. Yeah, that does make sense because he has a very big attachment to money.
Why does he do this? Is his greed caused by an obsession with the status lots of money grants you? Is it an obsession with maintaining a large amount of savings? Or
I'm
is
sure it
it
means a
quite
lot to him.
simply the physical money itself? This is the question I really want an answer to because I've been able to successfully crack the psychology of each SpongeBob character I've analyzed so far,
Oh,
except him.
you know what? What if he talks about the time when Mr. Krabs he wished it that he can talk to money? Because yeah, I mean like I feel like that's even going more than just wanting to be like rich and stuff. That you actually want to talk with your money. And I feel like that might be like going a bit too far in a way. Or
I've
like you want to
diagnosed
be that
Patrick with
attached
identity
to get to even
dissociation,
know the
Mrs.
money.
Puff with paranoid insanity, and Squidward with obsessive depression, but Eugene Krabs needs his day in court.
More.
I need to give one
More.
long-winded diagnosis of whatever he's got going on in that bewildering noggin.
All right, here we go. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see if he talks about that. I thought maybe he'll. It is called the pirate theory, so maybe he'll talk about that too. But I do wonder if he'll talk about the war because that's the only thing I can think of when it comes to him being like emotional, but also with his money too. He's very loving of that. Okay.
Hello, I am the Theorizer. This
Hello.
is Eugene Krabs, the foolish miser that will go to very severe lengths to protect his money. He is delusional.
Yes.
At times. He treats the physical bills as if they are conscious entities deserving of pampering and worship. This is a delusion, an obsessive one. Whether it be the idea of money or the objects that are money, this crab believes it deserves its own status as the best thing that exists. Injuring others is fine if it's in the service of money. People
Yep.
mean nothing to him. They
I
are all
remember he
just
just
the
even with SpongeBob be like, what? He sold his soul for like a couple of cents.
means to money. In one episode, he sold
Oh
SpongeBob's
yeah.
soul for 62
Oh, this
cents.
was the episode. Yeah. But then we go back. I just want to hear the full thing. How much did he sell it for?
In one episode, he sold SpongeBob's soul for 62 cents, if I
62
recall.
cents.
SpongeBob and Squidward are paid illegally low. He loves his daughter, and maybe his mother. That's it. Everybody else can burn for all he cares, but that slight familial love, it brings a restriction, a maximum, to his heartlessness. Almost every episode contains his monetary endeavors, so I can't go into every example, but you get the point. Mr. Krabs is a very greedy crustacean. So why? Psychologically. First of all, Mr. Krabs is not a psychopath or a sociopath. He genuinely cares for Pearl, and yes, often does consider the well-being of some people, so long as money has absolutely nothing to do with
Yeah,
the
I do
situation.
believe with
In
that.
terms of nature, he does seem to have
Like even with with Mrs. Puff and Pearl, like that one episode when he was dating Mrs. Puff for the first time. Like he tried to get money off his mind, Like he'll buy anything for Mrs. Puff, but when he sees the bill, like you know, he gets a bit freaked out. And then when it was Pearl's birthday, he even entrusted SpongeBob with his credit card. And then it was only when at the end when he saw the bill that he got a bit um yeah, where he got maybe kind of a bit pissed off and stuff.
Inclinations towards a personality of status, though not even remotely to the extent of whatever we see in the show. He doesn't appear to be overall insane or delusional
Oh
either,
jeez.
just selectively crazy when
This
it
scene.
comes to a single
Yeah, he's
topic.
crazy, man.
There is a very simple reason for this. Mr. Krabs has personified money and is in love with the concept of it. Mr. Krabs is literally in love with money. Or at least
Okay.
he thinks he is. This love is obsessive and
He
continually
thinks
goes
he
so
is.
far that he loses sight of the fact that money is not sentient or conscious, let alone sapient or even reciprocal. He is delusional in the highest order and blinded by love with his obsession. He likely fears that the money is cheating on him by being owned by others. If you can find examples of
Mm.
all his romantic attachments to money in the episodes, do tell me below. But what could be
Romantic
a cause of
attachments.
this obsession? Well,
I mean, there was this one episode where he just literally was trying to date money in like with Kashina, but it turned out to be Plankton.
I think Mr. Krabs had trouble forming healthy bonds as a child, and upon antagonizing his only friend, Plankton, he fell into the pit of high-key objectophilia. Mr. Krabs is on every possible
Mm.
level in love with money, romantically, intellectually, obsessively, and it's all overlaid with severe delusion. If I remember correctly, I do
Hey,
believe Mr. Krabs was partially raised by a pirate family as a child.
yeah, so that was one part of his pirate life where his grandpa, he thought he was still a pirate. Mr. Krabs was still a pirate.
This, understandably, would result in the possibility of a failure to form complete relationships, a sort of
And then he had his
childhood
old crew as
instilled
well,
attachment disorder, which psychologically is
where he
exactly
was
the
like
sort
Iron
of
Ad's
thing
Krabs.
known to develop into obsessive love disorder. So, Mr. Krabs was partially raised in a setting that made it difficult for him to form proper relationships, which led to some attachment disorders and an overall obsessive love disorder seasoned with objectophilia. He lost
Okay.
his only true friend to business conflict and was left
Yeah, I
to
never heard of objectophilia before, but I'm gonna guess from the name itself is just he really likes the object of the money here. Like he's just so obsessed with it. Okay. I mean, we kind of already knew that from by just watching it. I guess it's not something that I just realized when it comes to like understanding the psychology behind Mr. Krabs.
the single remaining thing that brought his childhood any pleasure, the rewarding outcome of business, money. But why exactly did he love money as a physical thing to begin with? Before we go through all of the examples I can think of off the top of my head to prove all these diagnoses, I must look into the very moment Mr. Krabs became attracted to money during his childhood, because this isn't a greed thing anymore. Mr. Krabs, I think, is designed to mimic a pirate. He's got the accent, he's
Yeah.
got the money, 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 ack. He's got the whole pointy peg leg things going on, makes sense, seeing as how he was raised partially by pirates. But
Okay.
the obsession goes far deeper than pillaging. At least most of the time he gets his money legally through his business, but pirates are greedy, not obsessive. And he didn't truly understand money until his job with Plankton. No. At first, the money intrigue was likely to compensate for being poor, or simply because of being related to pirates. An intrigue. An intrigue that spiraled. So, Mr. Krabs has an objectophilic attachment to money out of compensation for his pirated childhood and loss of Plankton. It is so severe that it is delusional, religious, and nearly some form of far-gone obsessive love disorder. Cool. Let's
Yeah, I can
find
see
some
that.
examples of his limits. So up until this point, I've literally been presuming that he was poor, but I can confirm that, yes, in another backstory episode of his, he is indeed in need of money. Clearly, some elements of his greed were
I feel like
spawned
there's
by
been so many of these type of like backstory stuff, like these backstory episodes. I do wonder if they kind of like conflict with each other, kind of like retcon each other. Because yeah, like we kind of talked before, the continuity in SpongeBob. I'm sure they're not really thinking about that. That they're always trying to reset these characters, and they only like maybe bring a few things over, like with Mr. Krabs dating Mrs. Puff, like that continues on and stuff.
this upbringing,
So I'm
leading to
wondering
the
if this
literal
backstory
addiction
just
of
how
keeping all the money
if
he
it
makes
still
at all
stays within.
costs. In the episode Clams, he goes to
And even
extreme
with like Camp Coral too, I've only like maybe watched a few episodes of it, but I also feel like with that show, it kind of conflicts some things. I know they had this whole thing with like Sandy trying to fix the past to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the future. But yeah, I do wonder if that show ever like tackled where SpongeBob and Sandy met for the first time, or even like what was that the movie, the third movie I think with Poseidon. They also showed Camp Coral there of like Sandy and SpongeBob meeting for the first time, but then in like in the first like the second half of the first episode they met there for the first time too,
lengths to get a single dollar, endangering
like in the
SpongeBob and
original show. I
Squidward
mean,
via starvation and utilization as literal bait. In Krabbyland, he builds an extremely dangerous theme park, careless towards the injuries children may face,
I
all
remember
thrown to win
this.
more money. He uses Gary as a money attractor in The Scent of Money, much to everyone's abused dismay. To protect his
I
money and
remember
business,
that.
he goes to severe lengths by spying on his staff, inserting himself into their lives, and he even poisons the health inspector in the Nasty Patty episode. He
Yeah,
notoriously
that was
underpays his
crazy, man.
staff. I even tried doing a general calculation of how much
Well, he
income
thought he
he
was
makes
fake
back when
though.
I
That
narrated
health
the videos
inspector
with a
though.
robotic voice. It's a lot of money. And the staff get none of it. He forces them all to work far too much and gives them nothing in return. I do believe that at one point SpongeBob pays Eugene for the supposed privilege of working. Squidward is too depressed to do anything, as we all know very well, but Krabs preys on SpongeBob's naivety. His whole establishment is far too cheap, and he does anything he can to save money. It's a disgusting restaurant filled to the brink with health code violations, which I'm sure can and will now be researched. He's robbed graves, plotted mass schemes in cold blood like the ectothermic crusty crustacean he is, and the theft. Good God, he steals more and more, but not necessarily in a kleptomanic sort of way. In short, as you can see, Mr. Krabs is seriously troubled. He was raised half by pirates who are
Yes.
stereotypically fond of money, and half in poverty, which led to an overall strong fixation with money. When he started his business with Plankton, this fascination evolved into a deeply greedy undertone, and when he and Plankton split, he turned to money out of comfort. In a life of being bullied for his poverty, Mr. Krabs saves his money and refuses to let it go. This comfort, greed, and necessity all push him over the deep end given time, and he begins to anthropomorphize money. This personification evolves into a subservience, a treatment of it as royalty. A bullied, poor, and pirated childhood that left him with attachment issues redirected itself at this newfound personification and pushed him into a state of obsessive love disorder mixed with objectophilia. Tragic. In my completely quasi-professional psychiatric opinion, Mr. Krabs and Plankton need to stabilize their relationship. Truly. Plankton only continues tormenting Krabs because he feels betrayed. A dime is worth more than their old friendship. Plankton is jealous, envious of the money he lacks. A love triangle
Yep,
of
he's
sorts. As I
always been
always do,
jealous.
I'll now put it
He
into
wants that
one
success of
compactly
Mr.
complex
Krabs.
sentence. Mr. Krabs is a multimillionaire cheapskate raised on attachment disorders, bullied poverty, and greed, all accumulating in objectophilia turns
Jeez, look
subserviently
at that.
anthropomorphizing
One word
obsessive
there.
love disorder regarding the concept and physical content of money after losing his childhood friend due to business conflict. And that is my diagnosis of Mr. Krabs. Overall, you could say he has a money disorder, which is a real thing, but his goes to particularly bizarre areas, which I have now detailed. As you all may remember, I diagnosed Plankton's plan, dare I say, but I can add to it now with more details.
Ooh, okay.
Plankton is an attritional rapid force psychologically manipulative war mastermind of breakdown, locked in a loop of envy regarding his ex-friend's objectophilic fixations. As you
Okay.
can see, I'm bringing in all the videos for this one, the money calculations, the war strategies, and I'm sure Plankton has some sort of inferiority like Squidward too. If you have any more instances where Mr. Krabs
Oh, is
does
that
stuff
it?
noteworthy to fit this diagnosis, please comment it below. I could make a follow-up where I read the comments in a video and attempt to prove it deeper. I need to analyze specific situations from more episodes. In fact, even if you don't normally comment, just comment anything you can think up. Also, make sure to like the video, that's quite important to YouTube's algorithm at the moment. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. I mean, even if you just sometimes watch me, it would be easier to subscribe, and it would help me better comprehend my own analytics. There are more SpongeBob diagnoses to come. Until next time, I'm the Theorizer.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like for the most part, um, like I feel like for the most part, it's just stuff that if you just watch SpongeBob that you might already know. Like after watching so many of Mr. Krabs stuff, it's something that you wouldn't be surprised to hear about this of him like just worshiping money, thinking that it's like the best thing in the world. Um, but yeah, I feel like when it comes to this theory, um, I thought he would lean more towards the pirate stuff in the past life because I feel like the only thing he does with that is him just talking about like when he was poor, but also just being a pirate as well, and that he shows some symptoms like stuff from those carried over to the money aspect, like his love for money. But yeah, this one I would say it's pretty much. I feel like it's something that I already knew in a way, but we got an ad. But yeah, I think that's really just pretty much all I can say is that yeah, I think with him just talking about just how much he, worships and how I guess he has this objectophilia that yeah, it's something that I can definitely understand and stuff. I think one thing that felt kind of interesting because I don't really think about it a lot is just how Mr. Krabs when it comes to anything but money, they're just like how normal and caring that he is for like Pearl and Mrs. Puff. It's just that whenever money is involved, that's when he gets really really crazy. Like wasn't there that one episode where like Mr. Krabs tries to unalive Squidward just so that Squidward's painting can be worth more if he were to sell it. So yeah, I think Mr. Krabs definitely because it's kind of funny to think about because I've always just associate him with like him being crazy with money. But yeah, it's just I rarely think that he's like a good guy. But when you think about it, it's like when it comes to stuff that is not related to money, like he does care for other people. Um, But yeah, I think with this theory, like I said, it's just something that I feel like I already knew, just like how obsessive he is with money. Um, I think he's just shown like examples of like him, you know, just doing that in general. Um, but overall, I would say it's an okay theory. So yeah, that was it for the Mr. Krabs pirate theory. I kind of wish he leaned in a bit more to the pirate and maybe more of his past and stuff. I think they only talked about him with like Plankton and when they were poor and stuff, and that when they separated, I think he said that's when Mr. Krabs started to like money a lot more. But yeah, I feel like there wasn't much about with the pirate stuff as well. Like I thought maybe he could have gone more into that since it is called a pirate theory. It did feel more of like just him being obsessed with money theory. Like yeah, maybe you can take some traits of him being a pirate that carries over to him liking money because pirates like to steal, plunder, and get treasure and valuables and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I kind of wish he leaned more into it. But anyway, guys, that's the pirate theory for Mr. Krabs. Next time, yeah, you guys have been hyping this up. The Gary theory number 1, 2, 3 over here. It's gonna be another possibly long video. Like I think back in the first video that I watched from the Theorizer here, I think one of you guys even commented like, what the whole Gary theory might be, and it's like this really long like I guess description of him, and it's one of those things where like when you hear it, like it sounds kind of like absurd and impossible, but then after watching stuff like the Patrick theory, like I thought the Theorizer went like all out with the Patrick theory. I think this is an amazing theory, like one of my favorite SpongeBob theories. And so after rereading that comment, like I feel like yeah, it is possible. I think that the Theorizer can can do that. Like yeah, I think he can definitely go there. Gary the Snail's an alien god. Jeez. All right. I mean, this guy, he was from the movie as well, right? I think the third one or the second one. I forgot which one. Um, but yeah, he was there. He's an alien dolphin. So I'm guessing from the thumbnail here, they're gonna talk about how Gary is like one of them, maybe. Yeah, this is from when Gary was in this dream. You know what? I guess maybe it makes sense. If I had to like, theorize for myself, like a little hypothesis here, um, on like what he might tackle here. That maybe, with Gary being in his dream, that's like his true self. But in real life, he can't really act like that. Like this is how pretty much how intelligent Gary is, like back from the dream. But yeah, I can't wait to watch all this. It's gonna be another like fun long video, just seeing all this possibly crazy connections. And also, like I said, you guys have been hyping this up for me a lot, so I can't wait to watch that. But yeah, guys, that was it for the pirate theory. Next time, Gary the Snail theory here. So yeah, that'll be for now. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good